Thanks so much for having us here today. This is Nick Panagopoulos. I manage the Global Strategic Alliances program for Translations.com. And as a part of that, I manage the partnership with Contentful. And as a partner, our job is to make the lives of you at home, the customers, easier and to help extend what's possible with Contentful. We've been a partner now for 2 years, and we have over a dozen shared customers. And it's fitting because Translations.com, we are the world's largest language services provider. We're an $800 million company. And we have over 5,000 companies worldwide using our translation management system, GlobalLink. So we've taken all of that experience and we've applied it to this partnership and to this new app that we've built, which I'm happy to announce today. With this new app framework that Contentful has offered us as a partner, you'll see it's a very seamless integration. The UI is intuitive. You have flexible submission options, and there's dashboard tracking that's not like what you've ever seen before. Ultimately, what we're doing with this app is we're connecting Contentful with our translation management system, GlobalLink. And GlobalLink has all of these features for translation management, machine translation, human translation, machine learning, as well as a variety of other features that are designed specifically to make the process of translation very easy, very scalable, typically reducing cost for translation anywhere from 30 to 50% for our customers. So let's go ahead and jump into the new app a little bit here. First, I want to show you when you're working in an individual entry, how that experience looks for making a submission. We actually, with individual entries, use what's called a polling interval to check for content that you've marked for translation automatically. And this is very similar to how integration used to work with the previous extensions that we had built. So this might look familiar to many of you. You'll notice that in the content editor, you can still select the languages, and we'll get to that in a moment. But this is our app. You can see it here in the sidebar. You can actually now pick the project that you want to submit the content for through translation. You can also see the languages and the statuses, real-time statuses. And you'll notice that when you click on these languages, the statuses change. This automatically creates a submission so that that content can get sent out for translation when that polling interval runs again. But that's not all. We've taken it a bit further than that. That's how really the extension used to work, and that's what some of our competitors have even done, and that works. But the reality is you need the ability to submit more than one piece of content, more than one entry at a time. So let's look at our bulk submissions here. If you go to the apps, click on our app that we've launched, you'll be able to see all of your content here. You'll see that it's sorted by content type. So you can go ahead and click on your different content types that you might have. You can click on any piece of content, any entry that you want to submit for translation. In here, you can also sort by the status. So if you wanted to, for instance, click on content that hasn't been translated before, you can easily add that to the submission. You can also pick content where the source language is outdated. Maybe it's changed, and you want to submit that now for translation as a part of this batch. So by clicking on the statuses, you can filter down and add very easily what it is that you want to translate. You can see these different statuses here, color-coded. You can see how they relate to each language in each submission as you look down the list here. Once you've gone through and you've checked everything and you've made sure that you're happy with this submission, you can click on the next screen and pick your source language, your target languages that you want the content translated into. You can change the name of the submission if you want to for tracking purposes. You can also set a due date, which is quite helpful when you're working with different translation resources. You can also set workflows, machine translation, human, a hybrid. And then you can click and submit linked entries now. This means that any content that you're submitting that might be linked to these entries can be batched together to create one whole submission. Here you get to review everything. You can see the name that you've given the submission, all of the different features, all of the different factors. You can also actually change the submission. You could say, hey, I didn't want to add these two pieces, or maybe those don't need to be translated today. You can also see the linked entries again from here. And again, it's a tick list. So if you wanted to, you could go through and tick the boxes and remove any of these pieces if you wanted to. Once you've reviewed the entire submission and you're happy with it, you can click the next button here to go ahead and create your submission. So we've created an entry level submission. We've created a batch level submission. And now is the really important part of tracking all of that. It's one thing to be able to get those translations sent out. It's a whole other thing to be able to track their status and track it in a number of different ways that's useful to you to give you the most time in your schedule to dedicate to other tasks that you might work on. So let's take a look at this. So once you're in the app, over on the left, you'll see our submissions button. When you click there, you can see all of the submissions that have been created. You can see the polling submission that we created a moment ago, as well as this demo submission for the batch that we created. You can see the project that was selected. You can see who submitted that, the due date. You can click in. You can see what it looks like by language, what the status is. And then you can also filter down so that you're looking at all submissions or active submissions. This makes it just simpler to track exactly what you want to track when you're in this screen. Now, when you go back, you can also change the status. And when you change the status, you can see maybe you've got a batch of content that's been delivered already. Or maybe there's another useful status that you want to track by. The other part that's really neat in here is you can now search your submissions. So if you use that feature to name your submissions, you can go ahead and easily do a quick search, and you can see the results right there in the screen. That's about all I had for you today. It's been great sharing with you what we've been able to do with Contentful and creating this app. And we're excited about what the future holds. If you have any questions for me or anyone here at the team, email us at contentful@translations.com. And thank you so much for your time today.